All right. I am super excited because here is a woman who I adore and who really showcases that it is possible to have not only the money, but also the lifestyle and the time freedom. And so I want to introduce you to Brooke Elder. Brooke, tell us a little bit about you and your company. What are you doing?
So my company is called Social Tenacity. And when we first met, I was a coach for network marketers, but I have now pivoted. I don't know if you even know this. I am now a
No.
software company.
What?
So yeah, so we have software that will schedule your social media posts for you, and then really a all-in-one platform for coaches for your courses and automations and emails and funnels and all of that all in one place. So that's what we do now.
Wow. Okay. Huge shift. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into where is your income at? What is the business growth? What is that beautiful number?
So this year we will do right about 1.2 million.
Excellent. I love it. Okay. So now I know you were making more than that in the last business, right?
Yes.
So this is a shift. Is
Mhm.
this business more profitable than the other
Much,
one?
much more profitable, and it takes way less of my time.
Oh, music to my ears. Okay, so
That
let's
was the
talk about.
biggest reason we did that shift.
I love it. I love it. See, and this is why I wanted to bring you on because you've had that focus of, okay, I know you have got 4 kids and a great husband and how many pets? Like there's at least one
two,
pet in the house,
two
two
dogs.
pets now, 2 dogs. So there's a lot going on in your house and you've really been committed to making sure that you have time for that.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about your early days of hustling.
When you first get started with any business, like you're it. You do everything, you're answering emails, you're taking sales calls, you're building funnels, you're like doing everything because you, one, probably can't afford to hire people, or two, you don't even know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, so you're like, I'll just figure this out. And that's what makes most entrepreneurs is they're just like, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I was hustling and doing everything for about 6 months. And I mean, we were making good money because when you're doing everything yourself, you don't have to pay anyone, you make good
Mm-hmm.
money.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that that's not what I always wanted to do because I was
Mm-hmm.
working, between 40 and 60 hours a week. And I had little kids at the time. And so I had to go to an office to go work. And so I was never seeing my family. And I'm like, this isn't right. So I started hiring some people. And slowly, as I was looking at what is it that we really want to do, what is it that I want, I didn't want to be working all the time. I wanted to have what they talk about, like that balance, right?
The elusive balance.
Yes, yes. So like it started slow. I about 3 years ago started homeschooling my kids. So the time that it took to homeschool my kids, I had to take out of my business somewhere because normally I was working,
Hmm.
and we tried different schedules because I found that sometimes like in the morning I'd be like, how fast can I get through homeschool? Because I have stuff I gotta do, you know. And I think everyone talks about how family comes first and family is most important, which it is, but then you have to really look at yourself and be honest with yourself and say, is that how you're treating it though? Because I would say that, but my work actually came first.
Mm, I love that honesty. Thank you.
And it was hard to be like, I
Yeah.
would much rather be sitting at my desk and like building funnels and stuff than going downstairs and playing Legos with my kids.
Wow.
And that was really hard to come to terms with, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started saying, okay, I got to start switching something. And about a year ago, my husband has had this dream to buy a sailboat and sail around the world. And I'm like, all right, well, if we're going to do that, there's no way that I could, not that I was working crazy hours, but I was still working probably 30 to 40 hours a week. And I was like, we got to do something because we don't have internet in the ocean. That's not going to work. So I'm like, well, I just need to hire everyone. Like, I'll hire people to just do everything. So that way I can step into that role of CEO and let everyone else do it. And I just hold the vision, and that's my job.
Yeah.
So I started hiring all of these people, and then I had no profit. I was paying for everybody, And then we're like, okay, well, this isn't working either. So that's when I decided, you know what, this business model for what I had with this coaching business and stuff, like, I really like doing it, but my passion actually is in software. I love the techie part of things. So before I had my coaching business, I ran a web design business and online marketing, and I loved that. So it's been this like new excitement and new like passion that I found to be able to help people automate their business and show them like, look, it's possible. You can have someone who will sign up for your course and will automatically send them the contract. As soon as they sign it, it automatically gives them access to your course. And that just like blows people's minds. And I'm like, no, this is really easy. And it makes it so I'm not personally involved in it. So it's made it that over the last 6 months, I did have to let go about 14 people, which was really hard. Yeah. But now I have a small team of core people who are just awesome. And our profit margins now are about 70% profit.
Wow. Okay, let's just celebrate that for a moment, because that is amazing. And start doing some math, and it's like, ooh, that's a nice little profit margin. Yeah. Love it.
And on this, like, I'm training support people and stuff right now. So in the next probably 60 days, I think I'll have to work 3 hours a month.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited for you.
So it makes living on a boat possible. I'm like, I can handle that.
Yeah, you can always, dock at the, somewhere and go into town into an internet cafe, do what you need to do. I love it. Like, it's just, I love the progression that, like, you've have these backgrounds, but you've been pulling them together. So all of the different things that you've done have given you information that you've just taken into the next business.
Yes.
And, it just, it's so much easier to launch, not to mention the fact that I know you're such a go-getter and you're smart, you're super smart. So you're taking all of that knowledge and just like, okay, we're going to pivot, but we're going to do it better. And we're going to do it better. And oh my goodness, to take it down to 3 hours a month, I just want to celebrate you. That is just fantastic.
Well, thank you. And I think that it's like, whenever you're starting a business, especially if you like hire a coach and you go through their program and everything like that, you feel like you got to do it like them. And I fell into that so many times. Like, I have to have a business like them because that's what they told me I need to do. Instead of really listening to my gut, because my gut a long time ago said, you need to be a software company. And I'm like, what? I'm a coach. That's what I do. You know what I mean? But like, you'll start seeing the signs of, and I think the universe just course corrects you until you really step into the path that you need to be.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because of course that's another big thing that I'm a huge proponent of, in that when you're aligned with what you're supposed to be doing, when you've got that path and you're going on it, then it becomes easy because things get dropped in your lap. And when you're constantly up against that challenge, and it's not that you don't have challenges when you're aligned, but when you have those challenges, you're like, ooh, let me figure out how to get over that. Let me figure out how to get around that. As opposed to when you're misaligned and a challenge comes up, then to me, it feels like a confrontation of like, what do you mean? Like, and I get angry if I'm off my path and then a challenge comes in, then there's that frustration. And so that's always a clue for me in my style of what's not in alignment. So how do you know when you're in alignment? What does that feel like?
So it is easy, and challenges don't rock me. I'm like, it's all right. I can handle this. But when I'm not and I start feeling anxious. And I do the opposite of you. I go inward and I'm like, I'm a failure. I can't do this. And then I'm like talking to my husband and crying. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
going to do. Like I go that way, you
yeah.
know? And so that's when I started realizing like we're going down the wrong path. And it took me a year and a half, really, of like hitting my head against the wall, and like it would kind of work and then it wouldn't work, and it would kind of work and then it wouldn't work, and that like that roller coaster, like yes, entrepreneurship is that roller coaster ride,
Hmm.
but if it's like going way fast and you're like up and down every other month, there's probably something there you need to change.
Yeah, I would completely agree in that, it's that emotional roller coaster is a really good clue, because there should be that thrill of, oh, it's a new challenge. Okay, let me figure that out. Let me get around it. And you have that breakthrough and you feel great. But it's not an intense swing in
Mm-hmm.
that case.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's out of alignment, it becomes real intense swings. And I do the internal as well of like, oh, I'm useless and nobody wants to talk to me. And this is too, you know, I think we all do that. But then we have to, really go and evaluate what is it for us? What's actually working? And
Mhm.
that truth, that radical honesty with ourselves.
Right. Well, when you find yourself going into like that fight or flight,
Hmm.
when you're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. Like I'm gonna either come out punching or like something. But that like I gotta do something. I gotta fix this. I gotta, that like energy of just
Hmm.
moving really, really fast. I don't know how to explain it, but like when I'm starting to feel that, that's when I'm like, okay, something is not right. Cause really when challenges come up, when you're aligned, it like peaceful is not the right word, but like I feel kind of peaceful about it. It was like, okay, we have a challenge. All right, what are the things that we can do to fix it? And it's just like calm.
Yeah. I sometimes I think of it as like, the tough mudder competitions and really the extreme sports, right? You look at people who are doing that. It's challenging. They're digging in and it's rough. They're covered in mud. And I mean, I have no appeal to do that myself, but I can get it like that. To me, that's like the entrepreneurial journey. Like you're in there and part of you is just thriving off of that challenge. And that's where I'd see like, we're just kind of trying to give people lots of different language of how to identify when you're on track, when you're off track. So I know we kind of went down this rabbit hole for a little while. Okay, so what advice would you have for people who are looking to get out of hustling and get more aligned and finding that ease and success together?
Well, the biggest thing that helped me, because I am a like to-do list person, and I love like ClickUp and stuff like that. So I had all the things that I have to do. And then I'd go through and I'd start doing some things, and I'm like, oh, but I still have so much to do. And that I used to tell myself this lie that as soon as I finish this big project, it will get better.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because you fill that time with something else. It's just never like it never is going to change,
Yep.
And so one thing that I have learned is like I give myself a time frame, and I'm like, okay, today I'm working from 1 to 4, and that's it. And whatever I get done in that time frame is perfect for me and exactly what I need to get done. And I just put out that intention at the beginning of my like work time. And when it's over, which this is really hard for me because I'm a person that, like if I start something, I got to finish it. But I'll just write down where I'm at and then be like, okay, this is the promise that I said to myself that I was going to be done at this time. And what I got done is perfect for me for today. And I just give the day gratitude and I'm done.
I
And that
love it.
helped me so much.
Well, and it's great from what I see of that, there's a couple of main things. One, you're maximizing on, of course, the Parkinson's law, in
Mhm.
that a project will only take as long as you allow it to take.
Mhm.
So when you say I've got this time window for working, suddenly you become more effective. With a
Yes.
bit of practice. The first couple of weeks might be a little bumpy. But the other thing too is that your focus and your prioritization of that list suddenly starts to change. And for you, because you're so strongly committed to your intuition and your connection to your source, that intuitive nudge can come through of what are the important things to do first. And
Mhm.
so when we focus on doing the important things, not necessarily the things we think we should, or obligation, then we propel our business forward much faster. So that's great. I love that tip.
Yeah. And it's an easy thing that you can do, like starting today. And I've learned that ClickUp and all of those to do lists, like as much as I love them, they overwhelm me. So now I have a sticky note system. Like if you could see my desk, it's full of sticky notes of all the things I need to do this week. And
Yep.
when they're done, I move them from one side to the other. And then I have my stack of sticky notes of things that I finished. And then I don't have to remember anything. It's all there. And it's easy to just jot down an idea and stick it there.
Yeah.
And then I can write down where I'm at when I'm in the middle of a project, and I put it right on my keyboard. So when I come back to work, I can start off right where I'm at. That has just worked for me, but
Yes.
that,
I love it. I suggest a variation of that for people is that I love the sticky note of one item per sticky note. I
mhm,
mean, on the desk is great because you can kind of rearrange them. But what I suggest to people is like you take your big, table of ideas and things that you think that you need to be doing, and then you let your intuition pick what are your top three,
mhm.
and you just start with those, which is the same idea. I mean, basically you're kind of narrowing the time
Yeah,
down, but
yeah, because
it's
I just
it's just
grab the things I'm gonna work on, and that's what goes in front of me, and that's what I work on, and if
yeah.
it gets done, great, and if it doesn't, then it just goes in the pile for tomorrow.
I love it. I love it. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on and being willing to share openly about your journey and showcasing a successful anti-hustler.
Yes, well, thank you.